This table talk is made possible by Mighty with Migraine, a newsletter from themighty.com. I am Kat, and I am joined by my fellow Mighty staffers, Ashley, Skye, and Jess. And today we're talking about the small choices we make to accommodate our physical health conditions every day. I was actually writing about this topic in our newsletter because I think one of the most surprising things to me about living with chronic illness and chronic pain is how many damn things we have to decide to literally survive that so many people don't even have to think about. So I'm very excited to hear all of your answers, but I'll give mine first, give you a little time to mull it over. But to me, one of the main things I do, because I find cooking exhausting, it takes so much energy out of me, one, to just even decide what I want to eat, or do I want to eat? Who knows? Will my nausea let me? We'll find out. But really just to actually prep the ingredients, cook, and then clean. So my biggest choice that I make, if I do decide to make dinner, is breaking up prep and the actual cooking. So I tend to do my prep in the morning or in the afternoon. If you all see me step away from Slack, I may actually be prepping dinner. And that saves me a little bit of spoons for later.
Oh, I was just going to comment on that and just
Yes.
I never want to make food just as a person because one, it is just so exhausting regardless. It's a decision you have to make every single day. It's just so much.
I saw a meme once that essentially was being an adult is deciding what you want to do for dinner every day until you die. And I relate so deeply to that. It's a lot. Who wants to go next? Skye?
Yeah, I was about to say I also can super relate to the cooking thing, especially for me, even sitting upright for extended periods of time can be really exhausting with pots. It makes me really dizzy. And so, cooking, prepping, sitting, or I have to sit at a cutting board. And that's if my hands decide to function well that day. We'll see what happens. Completely relate to that. I also think I make a lot of choices when it comes to personal hygiene. If I want to make sure I do a thorough job flossing my teeth, at night, I can't put on lotion after I shower, even if I know my skin needs it. And I just feel like it's this, not tiny sacrifices, but yeah, it's little swaps that you have to make throughout the day. Oh, am I gonna brush my teeth for 2 minutes or will I faint after my shower? It kind of feels gross, and it honestly feels gross to admit out loud, but especially I'm in the midst of a rough dysautonomia flare, and I've already been panicking okay, well, I didn't shower last night, but I definitely don't have the spoons to shower tonight, so I guess I'll shower tomorrow, maybe, if I eat enough salt. So that's currently what I'm working with.
Hygiene, that's so real. I will only wash my hair a maximum number of days a week. If I shave, it's likely only part of me. Personal hygiene, I never knew it took so much energy. Turns out it does.
Yeah, I'll say Skye and I were actually talking about that this morning, that I know for days that I want to wash my hair, I'm not shaving. And if I want to shave, I'm not washing my hair, and have to make that decision and that choice because both can't usually happen the same day.
I'm glad everyone can relate. Ashley, Jess, who's up next?
Well, speaking of hygiene, my whole thing is, that idea of sleep hygiene. It's a very boring kind of self-care, but it's also very important that I make that decision to go to bed at the same time every night, despite, I'm a super creative person. So usually I'm working on sewing or whatever after work. And, I got one step left to go. I can stay up another 10, 15, 30, 2 hours, but at the end of the day, I have to force myself to go to sleep because, with having chronic fatigue because of hypothyroidism, I'm not gonna gain that sleep otherwise. And the only way I can actually get through my day is ensuring that minimum amount of sleep is happening. And I'm not always good at it, but it's really just the trying to keep myself on that schedule is really important.
I feel like medication plays a huge role in that too. I know exactly how long I have from the minute I take my nighttime meds to when I literally am not a human anymore. So I have to plan backwards and take it at the same time every day, or just know that an hour and a half from now I'm going to fall asleep and really just become incoherent. But other people, apparently they go to bed whenever they want to. What's that like?
That just reminded me too, it's important with waking up too, because the the medication I take for not having a thyroid has to be taken first thing in the morning. So if I'm going to bed later, I'm waking up later, which means that medication's coming in at a different time, which, as we all know, not usually the best thing. You want to try to keep most of those pretty consistent. So if I'm waking up later, then first thing in the morning on one day might be an hour difference, which, doesn't feel good a couple days later when that long-term effect kicks in.
That makes a ton of sense. Jess, what about you?
Yeah, I feel like it's like instead of death by 1,000 paper cuts, it's exhaustion by 1,000,000 decisions. And so there's the lifestyle choices like not drinking or minimizing ingredients that don't make me feel good or that make me feel worse. And then there's just so much experimenting, especially, I know we all have multiple conditions. There's so much experimenting between like what's going to help me with this condition without hurting this other condition. And sometimes the thing that helps you the most with one actually really does make one of the others a lot worse. And so then there's the decisions you have to make there. Are you going to do it? Or are you not going to do it? And then these prioritized to-do lists that I make every day that include all those like basic daily tasks and the reminders for everything that I want to do. And even as I'm making those lists, I know that half that stuff's going to get moved off. Half that stuff's either not going to happen or it's going to have to go to a different day. Because the day goes on and my spoons always go a lot faster than I think they will, and something's got to give. And a lot of times that ends up being towards dinner time, and I could probably take a note from your book, Kat, and prep some of my dinner earlier in the day. That might help. But yeah, there's so many decisions, and I feel like my brain is constantly evaluating and adjusting and like moving around this jigsaw puzzle of my day, which it's just a lot of decisions. It's really exhausting.
I feel like what's hardest is just like the choice you make one day, you can make the same choice the next day, and it can either be a good or a bad thing. Like if I choose to say I always wash my hair on a Monday, which sometimes happens because Mondays tend to be the days that I feel the best. So if I wash my hair on a Tuesday, you would think it would like take the same out of me. No, I usually hate myself if I wash my hair on a Tuesday. So what's up with that? Migraine, I hate you. I'm gonna get a tattoo of that.
Yes. That's no, that's oh my gosh, that's so relatable. And it's frustrating too not knowing what's going to work on a specific day or not. Like you were saying, I get that way a lot with like food too, where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put this effort in, and I know this food made me feel great this one week, and then the next week, all of a sudden, my reflux is out of control. Just the fun, the fun surprises that come with chronic illness. Oh my goodness. But yes, I guess I didn't think until this conversation about just how exhausting the decisions themselves are, because it's kind of like always lurking in the back of my mind. That whole, like I was saying, even during this conversation, I'm like, okay, well, I really need to floss my teeth tonight, but also I've been getting dizzy in the shower more. So like, when am I going to do that? And how am I going to work the full day? And how am I going to do whatever? And then that makes me not want to do any of it because I'm already exhausted from considering it.
I also just realized none of these are fun choices. None of these are like, should I have
awful choices.
These are terrible choices. This is literally how do I groom my body, how do I sleep, and how do I eat. So basic life functions, which I think therein lies like how boring and mundane chronic illnesses and chronic pain especially is. But just we're so much fun.
And I think that, really speaks to the fact that like we can make those fun decisions, and we do make those fun decisions, but they all come afterwards. They all come after all of the check marks are crossed off and at the end of the day, we might not have spoons for those fun check marks. We might not have the ability to actually do anything else besides just maintain, because it is that additional layer that people who do not live with illness, or at least like chronic, regular, ongoing, have to consider every single day. And so they can't make more of those fun choices because there's time for it.
Yeah, I think like even when we make those fun choices, for me at least, I know almost always they're going to come at a cost. Like I went and did that fun thing that's, I got all the basics done, and I did that fun thing, and I know that one of those basics is going to drop off. At least one of them is going to fall the next day or for another couple days. So there's that too. Like, there's always that cost.
And I think the other thing this comes down to, and I think why it is so jarring, it took me a very long time, by the way, to realize that like I was having to make choices to even just survive. I think the big thing is that none of us chose our conditions. And I think that's what's hard, is that we were all saddled with very life-changing diagnoses that have drastically changed our life. And that's really difficult. So, but thank you for all making me feel less alone. And I choose you all every day. If you want more conversations like this, I hope you subscribe to Mighty with Migraine by going to bit.ly/MWM email. That's bit.ly/MWM EMAIL. We'll see you in your inbox. Bye.
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 Bye.